There's something greater afoot, I tell you. It wasn't anything about fumes. She had something deep inside. Maybe it was just the will to live, the will to survive, the passion brewing, the ability to step into something with all of your heart, your soul, and your spirit.
I feel like you're writing like a TV script or something for a movie right now. Please, please, if you're using an Excel sheet, go get a CRM. I don't want to talk to you if you're getting a if you have an Excel sheet. If you've been in business for more than 6 months, go get a CRM.
All right. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of the 1% Podcast. I'm your host, Vin. And
I'm Shane.
today we're going to talk about your best friend in your business, the bones under the skin, your CRM system, or if you don't have one, why you should get one. But before that, let's talk about how to efficiently work throughout the day. Caffeine. How much is too much or too little? I think Shane takes too little, but that's okay.
Can I start this one? Actually, I want to start this one because I want to talk about my wife real quick.
I was throwing it over to you. Go ahead.
My wife been a school teacher, and she's now a stay-at-home mom, but she was a school teacher for 17 years. Okay. This school teacher doesn't drink caffeination anything. As a school teacher, no coffee, no caffeinated teas, no energy drinks, no caffeine pills. Mind you, she's not only a school teacher, she teaches second grade. And she's had class sizes as big as 32 kids. Can you imagine 32 7-year-olds running around?
Yes.
And you're just tired? She had to get up at school at 7 a.m. and work there till sometimes 4 or 5 at night and come home. How do you do that with no caffeine? How are you running on fumes? Which Vin is an overdose almost comparable to cocaine, and we'll talk about that. But my wife, how do you naturally run on nothing? I just don't get it.
She runs on pure hatred and a will to live.
I mean, she's been wanting to be a school teacher since she was like 7 or something like that, 6 or 7. Like, that's what she's wanted to do. So first off, I don't meet a lot of people that it's like, oh, you knew what you wanted to be when you grew up. How many people do you know that was like, I want to be, like, for you, you're like, I want to be a firefighter. Maybe that's what you said when you were a kid. And you went out and you did it. But now you're like, I want to help people. I want to see people through. I want to really help to get them here, which is admirable. But she wanted to be a school teacher, and she still loved being a school teacher. But now she's a stay-at-home mom, and she loves that 10 times more. Anyways, back to the caffeine thing. How the heck do you run on fumes? I don't get it.
There's something greater afoot, I tell you. It wasn't anything about fumes. She had something deep inside. Maybe it was just the will to live, the will to survive, the passion brewing, the ability to step into something with all of your heart, your soul, and your spirit.
I feel like you're writing like a TV script or something for a movie right now.
Miss Riggs, check out the movie when it drops next June.
Even the way you said it, it was just like, all right, zoom in on Vin. We got the big speech coming in. All right, Vin, go. You're up.
Oh, man. I mean, it is interesting. Actually, to your point, I had 2 childhood dreams. I said I was going to be a therapist and a firefighter, and I did both. And then I was like, I don't want to do either.
Don't think I've ever had a dream where I was like, I wanted to be this when I grew up. I mean, I think I've had those, like when you're talking to a kid, it's like, oh, I want to be a millionaire. Oh, how are you going to do it? No idea. I just know I want to be one. Sounds awesome, But yeah, you've had that dreams too, where you wanted to be a firefighter and a therapist.
Oh yeah.
I don't meet too many people like you guys.
Well, I mean, it was simple, right? I think every boy as they grow up wants to be something heroic. Like every guy or kid as a boy always turns around and says like, I want to be a firefighter, or I want to be a cop, or I want to be a soldier or an astronaut, or I don't know. There's probably one other profession I'm missing.
I never wanted to be any of those. I can easily answer that.
Wow.
Yeah.
What were you?
Exactly. Exactly. Was I living under a rock, or just like what happened?
My man just had no aspirations as a kid.
I guess. I looked in front of me and there was my bike and, a basketball or something to play with, but I had no desire to be an NBA player or do BMX or anything. I just wanted to be a kid, hang out, have fun.
But every kid dreams of something larger than life.
I tell you, I think I wanted to be a millionaire because I understood the concept of money at a real young age. And I'll definitely give thanks to my parents on that one. My parents made me do chores instead of an allowance. I had to do chores. I had to go wash the neighbors' cars to get extra money, pull weeds to get extra money. So I understood the concept of money. So I think I just wanted to be a millionaire because I knew how hard it was to attain money because my parents wouldn't just give it to me. I had to work for it. So I think that was maybe my aspiration. I don't know if I ever dreamed about it, but I think maybe I did. I don't know.
I mean, I did all that stuff too. I remember I was still walking around with snow shovels and rakes, and every seasonal hustle, I did it. I would
Yeah.
offer to wash cars. I would rake leaves. I would shovel snow. I would pull weeds. I was delivering newspapers.
Do you see that anymore these days, by the way? I don't personally.
No,
Yeah.
no. Well, you know what it is too. I think that at least there's less of a need for it. You know, like the snow isn't really as heavy as it used to be.
Dude, if a kid came over and said, I want to wash your cars, I'm charging $20 or whatever it may be, I'm going to say, yeah, go wash my cars. But you don't see that anymore. If a kid came and said, I want to pull your weeds, for 20, $25, absolutely, come pull my weeds. But you just don't see it anymore. I know we live in a different society where it's a little scarier nowadays, but back in the 90s, we'd go to random people's houses and be like, let me do some chores for some money. Like, that's it. I'm like, yeah, no problem.
I remember those days. So if anybody out there needs a job, you could just go to Shane's house and ask him to do stuff around.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
You do 5 tasks and you'll make $100 off Shane for the day.
I mean, maybe not the day. It might take you 2 days. But yeah, absolutely. Come to my house.
Love it. Mm-hmm. All right. So that's maybe that's just the topic for today is go do some work at Shane's house and follow your aspirations as a kid.
Oh, God. I'll teach you how to do manual labor, that's for sure. Which is also a dying breed, by the way. I have a lot of friends that are, like in the blue collar industry that are like electricians and plumbers and lay cable, and these are like hard men. Like, especially my buddy who's an electrician. He was an electrician, which is kind of funny. He's an electrician for a water company, but he goes and he fixes like transformers. Like, he just does real manly stuff. And I ask him, I'm like, the people that you hire, like, is there any like 20, 30-year-olds? He's like, everybody that we hire is usually from like a different company and they're always 40 years plus. He's like, nobody wants to do what we do. I'm like, that's a dying industry. I just don't understand it. What's going to happen? Are we just going to have a new breed of like our kids? Are they going to be the new hands-on type of people?
Probably not. Can't imagine it. I think maybe that's something they're going to have to start figuring out with robots and AI.
Don't tell Nick that. Don't tell my buddy that.
It's like don't try to figure out how to replace the therapist and the coach because we're still willing to be here. Go figure out the guy that's going to replace the industry that nobody's taking jobs in anymore.
Nick, if you're watching, I'm sorry, but he's right.
I mean, listen, they got 20 years to figure it out. I assume most of those guys in their 40 probably be done working when they're in their 60s, right? So
I'm just saying, I think that's a huge, problem. You're right. I think, AI and robots have definitely advanced and we'll see where that goes. But who the heck is going to do it? We can't have a bunch of grandpas, going in there, getting in our attics and laying cable and, fixing electricity problems and helping transformer outbreaks. Like, you can't have that happen.
Gonna have a bunch of like 80-year-old guys trying to work on transformers. But you know what? Actually, you know what? This is what I would predict on that. If there really does become a shortage, then there will arise potentially. I could be wrong, but I think there would arise an abundance of people from that shortage. Because when there's a shortage, supply and demand always dictates that you will get paid more. So now you're going to have people jumping ship and going to that industry because maybe now they're making $80 an hour, but at that point they'll be making $200 an hour, and everybody's like, "I'm going there."
Right. That's the story of economics in a nutshell. Absolutely. If we can't find the guys, we'll increase the salary and then we'll bring the guys. But then guess what? We want to, add security cameras to our house. It's going to cost you 12 grand. What? We don't have electricians, so we're paying $200 an hour to get all this done. Everything's getting crazy, but the solution to our problem, let's print more money. Where's it coming from? Doesn't matter. Let's just do it. Let's inflate the dollar.
Yeah, I mean, free money for everyone, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Anyway, so my caffeine, to bring it back here.
Shane, listen, everybody, I want you to pay attention to what happened. Shane said he wants to lead this today, and look at what happened.
Yeah. I didn't say I was fighting a giraffe, all right? That's what I didn't say.
But that was the topic, Shane.
Wasn't the topic. That was
I would win.
Oh, my God.
Did you know that they swing their necks to fight? Essentially, It's just like a giant game of jump rope.
That's why you would lose.
We're not getting jump rope. I was good at jump rope. I could do the double jump.
You get smacked.
That thing would swing its neck. Fast. I will jump over it, and then I will latch on, and then I will go up with it to the sky, and then I will pull it down and submit.
So my caffeine intake on a daily consumption is what I feel like is the average American consumption, which I don't know. Actually, that's probably something to type in, like what's the average American caffeine consumption on a daily basis, which I think a cup of coffee is, 120 milligrams, 80 to 120. And I like mine, a nice dark roast, no cream, just straight black. But I'll usually do 2 cups, and that's it.
How big is that cup of coffee?
I don't have the cups with me, but I think there's 16 ounces. Did
you fill it to the brim?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Absolutely. You're hardcore. Okay.
So hardcore. But on a flip side, I've had, I'm not a big fan of energy drinks, but I've had a bang from time to time when I'm really feeling down, and I cannot consume more than a fourth of it. I can't. I literally I drank half of it one time, and no joke, it's gross, I'm sorry, but I threw up. It was so much. It over-consumed and took my body that I was just wired. I didn't like it. And somehow I was working out while doing it, and my whole body's like, whatever you just put in here, we don't want it, and we're getting rid of it. And there went that. So 2 cups of coffee is my usually daily routine, and that's it. Wait till you hear Vin's.
Well, I like to start off my day with a nice drink of electrolytes, hydration.
Like Gatorade?
No. Like a packet of electrolytes.
Oh, okay.
And then I mix that in water, and I do a microgreen thing, the green powder.
But electrolytes, not caffeine, because electrolytes is essentially just salt. For those of you guys that don't know what electrolytes are, it's essentially just salt, a little bit of extra mineral, and water.
And it's mixed with hydrogen oxide.
Yeah, but it's salt.
No, it isn't.
Electrolytes is essentially
dihydrogen oxide. That's not salt.
So no caffeine yet.
Not yet. But immediately after that, now that I am hydrated, we start with the coffee. Nice, good coffee.
Sorry to real quick. I heard that's actually really healthy for you, is doing a little apple cider vinegar or getting some sort of, electrolytes into your body first when you first wake up. I know there's some pro-benefit health reasons to consume that. I don't do that, but I did hear that there is actually some health benefits of consuming something like that when you first wake up. Is there anything you can speak towards?
Well, your body dehydrates overnight. When you're breathing, typically you're losing water, like in every breath, right? Every breath you're taking and you're going like that, there's water droplets coming out in your respiratory response. I don't know what it's called, whatever. So over 8 hours, right, your body is preserving its functions. If you sweat at night, which a lot of people tend to do, right? Because the body, if you're not sleeping in a cold room, the proper optimal temperature for sleeping at night is supposed to be 66 degrees or a little bit lower.
That is freezing. I like it at 71.
Ew. See, I'm so glad I didn't stay over your house.
Oh my God, 66, dude?
Sweat.
Oh my God.
I would have sweat. Anyway,
freezing in there.
66. Because if you're not, your body's probably going to overheat a little bit. You're probably going to wind up sweating. So you're losing water through sweat. You're losing water through respiration. It also helps hydrate you first thing in the morning so that your organs just come to life, and your body starts processing quicker, faster, and more efficiently. So when you drink coffee first thing in the morning, you're actually immediately dehydrating yourself because you're already somewhat dehydrated, and now you're going further into dehydration because that's what coffee does. It like sucks the water out of you, right? It's a diuretic.
Yep.
And so that's why I'll do the hydration drink first, and then I'll just have some coffee after that. So the
And
coffee
just
is
how much coffee?
I don't fill it to the brim, but I would probably say it's got to be about like maybe a good 12 to 14 ounces.
Oh, just 1 cup though.
1 cup.
Oh, okay.
But so 1 cup of coffee in the morning with some mental focus pills. And the supplements that are great for mental focus are tyrosine, acetyl L-carnitine, and alpha GPC. So I'll take two.
For those that don't know what that is, it's called Adderall.
It's not Adderall, not an amphetamine. But you take those with caffeine, it definitely helps your focus. So much so, like I would tell people, if you do have ADHD and you're struggling with Adderall, you should probably start taking those pills and see if it helps, as opposed to taking Adderall.
2 of those ingredients is one of the Joe Rogan's Alpha Brain, I think it's called. You heard of this one? 2 of those ingredients that you said is in Alpha Brain. We are not supported, nor do we not have taken either of these, but I know Alpha Brain from Joe Rogan, apparently he's creating some sort of mental brain pill that's
the biggest issue with a lot of supplements out there, and like I've been in the not just personal development but physical development field for a while, because I used to be a personal trainer, and a lot of the times the issues that come up with supplements is that, especially if you're not, even if you are getting it in a pure form, you still might not be getting the right dosage. Because people will sell you stuff like, for instance, let's just say Alpha Brain has 50 ingredients, and it's like, hey, we have alpha GPC, acetyl L-carnitine, and tyrosine, and these are 3 of the best things for focus. Cool. We need 200 milligrams of alpha GPC, 200 of acetyl, and like 250 of tyrosine. And so he's going to give you 50, 40, and 30.
Right.
Because now he's got this blend of all this other shit. So essentially, a lot of supplements out there, people don't realize you're buying them, you're spending hundreds or thousands of dollars in a year on supplements, and they have zero effect on your body.
Right.
And so I just go with pure sources. Like I love Andrew Huberman, and I order from his brand, which is Momentous, and they always just do like pure amounts. Like if you're getting tyrosine, it's tyrosine, and it's the proper dosage of tyrosine per day. And so I'll always just have these pure supplements next to me. But I'll take those in the morning with a coffee, and then I will take a little bit of a weight loss blend through a company I like called the X Factor, and that has a little bit of a energizer and a booster in you, and you take that twice a day. So that's how I start my day. Then somewhere a few hours later, I'll typically go ahead and drink a little bit of pre-workout, and maybe I'll head to the gym. Maybe I won't. Maybe it's just the middle of the day.
And how much is dosage is that? Milligrams of caffeine?
365.
Yeah, that's like 3 cups of coffee.
Yeah, I mean, well, this is a 12-ounce bottle right here.
Yeah, that's not. So they just like, it's like a shot in there. All right, so far you're at like equivalent to 4 cups of coffee a day then. So that's not bad. I thought it was more than that.
Yeah, no, it's not that. But then I'll take some more of the what do you call it? The fat burning pills, because those you take midday, and then I'll take a little bit more of this. And so I just kind of sip and drink this throughout the day, in addition to my cup of coffee, and then in addition to my focus and such. Yeah, I mean, it's not terrible.
I have buddies that are way worse than you. Like my buddy Matt, and Matt, you know who you are, and he's just started listening to our podcast, by the way, so you'll catch up to this one.
All right, shout out Matt.
He starts out every single day, guaranteed, with a whole pot of coffee, which is 12 cups. Every single day, whole pot of coffee. And then in the afternoon, it's either an energy drink. He switches from the new one. I don't know. It's like a Bob Marley or something. But and then or a Rock one. Like the Rock's got an energy drink now. Okay. I don't know him either. And that's what he does. And then at nighttime, he'll drink these things called Zevias. Have you heard of Zevias?
Yeah, I know Zevia.
It's like a soda, but it's sweetened with not stevia, but
Zevia.
Monk fruit.
Sweetened with Zevia.
Well, there's no Zevia. It's not stevia. Yeah. But he drinks like almost, no joke, a 6-pack at night.
Yeah,
And
but
I'm
there's
like,
nothing
dude,
in there. There's nothing in there.
well, it's the monk fruit, the carbonation, and yeah, the water. But
That's,
sure,
that's what I'm saying.
okay.
So,
There's
interestingly
nothing wrong.
enough, well, here's the interesting thing: caffeine is a drug, whether people acknowledge
100%.
that or not.
Absolutely.
Caffeine. So he can very logically drink a whole pot of coffee in the morning because he's probably Matt. When you're listening to this, feel free to reach out, but you're probably extremely resistant to that coffee now. Like that caffeine does nothing for you. That's why he's drinking a whole pot of coffee.
For the caffeine purposes, you're probably right.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And he might just like it at this point too. I mean, if the man's drinking a whole pot.
Oh, he loves coffee. Yeah,
Matt,
loves.
comment on this video. Let us know, why do you do it? Do you like the taste of it? Is that why you drink the whole pot?
And
Or
yes,
you get that caffeine fix, you junkie?
I can honestly answer for him because he's a good friend of mine and I've known him since I was 16. He loves coffee. The problem with him is he puts a whole bunch of creamer and sugar, stevias in there for every cup.
Oh
So
wow.
imagine every cup's got 2 or 3 creamers in there and 2 stevias in there every cup.
Damn. That's a lot.
Dude,
That's
it's
a
a
head.
lot.
That's like half a day's worth of calories right there.
It's a lot.
It's a lot of calories.
Oh man.
I think I just
Anyways,
gained weight from hearing that statement, actually. Felt my chair creak.
you know what? If you guys have a caffeine problem or anything, I want to hear your daily routine. You know, if you guys have made it this far in, write down in the comments what you guys do on a daily routine for your caffeine. You know, I want to hear who the winner is. Don't make it up. Be honest with yourself. Let's see who's got a crazy caffeine addiction in here. And remember, not just the one time that you drank 6 Red Bulls or you had 12 Red Bull and vodkas and you couldn't sleep at night. Your daily caffeine routine. What is it? Let's hear it down there.
Pretty interesting. I will be scoping out those of you that need a coach, and I will promptly DM you.
All right, we got to transition here because I'm very excited to talk about this subject here. CRMs, you know, why do we have CRMs? You know, how powerful can they be? What can you use a CRM for? Why should you get one? All encompassing. You know, Vin and I were briefly talking about this beforehand. We actually use our CRMs the same and also completely different. So I think we can touch on these.
And I have also started a CRM company, which Shane knows about. I've created a little agency where we will build out and help build out your CRM for you if you need that. And
it's one of the best ones out there too. Go High Level is the CRM out there. And if you're looking for a hands-off process, reach out to them because Go High Level is amazing. I even have a Go High Level account.
Yeah. And even that, even if you still want to do it yourself, you should still reach out to me because we will sell it to you cheaper.
Even more of a win-win.
That's right. So, Shane, why don't you go ahead since you're in the mood of starting today? Go ahead. Tell us a little bit about your experience with CRMs, why they're so important to business owners out there.
So, first off, what is a CRM? A CRM is a customer relations management tool, also known as a database. So, I started out using a variety of different CRMs based on how big my company was and the tools that it could offer. So, for instance, there's a company called Monday out there and Asana. Monday is more of a daily task and SOP, tools where essentially you can write down everything you need to do today, and it's almost like a checklist that you can do. That's Monday. And SOP, standard operating procedures, if you're looking to delegate a process to somebody or you just want to write down your process, also good for that too. And then I moved through a variety like Asana. We used ClickUp. We used Salesforce. We used Go High Level. And we moved actually from Go High Level to now our platform now, which is QuickBase. QuickBase it's a build it yourself. So it's a really technical CRM tool. And I feel like, don't worry, I don't sell QuickBase, but just so you understand it, it's very technical where you actually have to build it. So meaning we have a big organization that we have, if there's any sort of HR related help desk ticket systems where our VAs need to file something, whether they need some time off, they're having some issues with payroll, something like that. They file a ticket, our team looks at it, they help them out. There's a problem on a technical side, Same thing, same process. All of our payroll, all of our timekeeping, all of our sales process, everything is in QuickBase. So we literally have a front end, a back end for QuickBase, which is why we went over there. Now, the cool thing about QuickBase, let's talk about the front end part of this, which is probably what everybody uses a CRM for, is organization, data entry, and following up with this. There is a term called database reactivation. I learned this in marketing years ago. And this is probably what attributed my success early on, was by spending $10,000 to learn database reactivation. So what is this? Database reactivation is you're sitting on a gold mine, which is your database, which is your old leads, which is people who were once interested, but you haven't really followed up, or maybe you sent an email or a newsletter or something to just stay on top. However, what you're supposed to do is you're supposed to stay on top of your database, especially as the biggest it gets. So how do you do that? Text campaigns with offers, email campaigns with direct offers, something to stay on top of mind. You don't want to continually send, hey, this is the top 10 reasons why to get a VA. Hey, this is, happy Mother's Day. We just wanted to say thanks here from the VA group. Nothing like that. So when you want to reinvigorate your database, you hit them with a direct offer where you're going to get a yes or a no. And it's good, because if you get a no, what's going to be? Take me off your database. Good. I don't want you. If you're not interested, that's fine. I don't need you here for another 2-3 years. I want people who are going to be like, follow up with me in 3 to 6 months. I'm interested in scheduling an appointment. That's what you want. So that's the main reason what we do is we do a lot of database reactivation with my company, because there's a lot of interest in people looking for virtual assistants. So we do text campaigns, we do cold calling, we do warm calling, we do email drip campaigns. And that's a huge part of CRM, is taking notes, is saying how many times you followed up with them, updating the lead on everything that you talked about or didn't talk about. And that's a great way to just stay organized. Yeah, I would say for the front end process for a CRM, I highly recommend doing something like that. You have to stay organized in your database, and you have to hit them with a direct offer.
I think that, it's very interesting, because as somebody who doesn't know anything, well, that's an incorrect statement. I'm going to start over. As somebody who didn't know anything about business, as somebody who came from a 9 to 5 and never went through any formal training, never studied business, never really thought about entrepreneurship until I realized I just couldn't stand working for other people. I didn't know anything about anything. Like, I would have clients, which is even funnier. Like, I started working with executives before I knew anything about business, which I could do because I knew about people and they needed personal help. But there's always the crossover, right? Like, they'd get frustrated and they'd be talking about their anger, and I'd be like, okay, well, here's how you start mitigating anger. We have to figure out, like, what's the cause of it, right? And then they'd be like, well, my reps aren't using the CRM properly. I'm like, that sucks. So what's CRM? Exactly. Because, like, so they keep saying it, and then they'd be like, well, I'm pissed at this guy. Why? Well, he didn't hit his KPIs. Well, that could be frustrating, but what's a KPI? And so and so I started just learning all of this business knowledge, or this business information, through just working with people as I was helping them navigate these interpersonal issues while learning about what the external stressors were. And it was very funny, because I remember one person I was talking to was extremely impressed by me, and I didn't even understand why. And he was like, you've done something really fascinating. I'm like, what's that? He's like, you've built a coaching business to over 6 figures in less than a year. He's like, and you have no processes, systems, CRMs, or understanding of how you did it. I'm like, that's right. And he goes, I can only imagine what you'll be able to do when you actually know what you're doing. And I said, me too.
That's how you
Who
start
knows?
everything, to be honest, is you kind of wing it.
Yeah. And I mean, you don't know any better, because I never learned about any of it, right? So as I started getting into the CRM, and for those of you out there that are listening and are building specifically personal brands like I have, your CRM is going to be even better of a friend to you. Like, an organization in general needs a CRM because of the fact that, well, mostly what Shane just listed is that it's your organization, it's your ability to create process and your ability to delegate, and all of these things could be handled in one channel. And then in your CRM, if you're a personal brand, there's so much more, because now this could be, especially if you use something like Go High Level, like the agency that I have, right? You can host your own courses in your CRM. You could create your communities in your CRM. You could sell your own products in your CRM. Like, you can literally integrate every part of what it is that you want your brand to be within your CRM, which makes it even more valuable, because now you never have to find people. Like, forget the days of having to go get MailChimp for this and then get a texting platform for this and then go to Kajabi for hosting and then go to this other platform for your community. You can actually start bringing it all in one place, which not only cuts costs and streamlines processes, but it makes you so much more efficient. And as a personal brand, one of the biggest things I do consistently is I do a newsletter, because when people are invested in your personal brand, they aren't interested in what you have to say. My newsletter right now, I was just checking the stats actually. My previous newsletter had a 48% open rate. The one before that had a 44%. The one before that was like 45%. My open rate is well above average, and I believe it should be, because I'm a personal brand. Whereas if you're this mass company that's just sending out a newsletter, you might have lower open rates or whatever, because it's like they're not really invested.
No.
But people really want to hear from me because they're invested in me to some degree. So
Right.
I think if you're going to be a personal brand, having a good CRM that can manage all of these things for you are wildly important, even down to what Shane was talking about with having call to actions. That's massive. You can't make a sale if you're not telling people what to do. So even for me, I have a free resource that I've probably told all of you listeners, please go get the free resource. I want you to have it. But that free resource is in my CRM, and it's attached to a drip campaign. So if you sign up for this free resource, there's going to be a series of emails that get sent to you. And
Mm-hmm.
each one, at the end of each email, is going to say, if I could support you on my journey, feel free to book a call. And that's me saying, hey, book a free call with me. And then if we like each other, come work with me. And so everything starts becoming this really powerful integrated tool that can literally keep your audiences warm, that can consistently help you sell yourself, your product, your services, that can consistently create relationships. And I think that's the big thing too. Like, I never sell anything in my newsletter, and I'm up to my 16th newsletter. So I do it twice a month. So I've been consistent for 8 months with this newsletter now. Now I have over almost a 50% open rate. By the time I actually go to sell something through that newsletter, I think people will buy it because I never ask them for anything. I just provide value. And so that's another really powerful thing too, is you have so many ways in your CRMs. If you organize it right and you're doing the right systems and processes, you have a way to consistently provide value to your audience, which will ultimately make it a lot more likely that when you do have an ask for them to give, they're more likely to do that because you've been giving so much to them. So Shane definitely knows more about the sides of how you use it on a bigger company and how it's helpful. I definitely know a lot about what it is to be even a one-man show and how important your CRM could be. So I think people don't realize that enough, because a lot of people are one-man shows or one-woman shows, and they're like, well, I don't need a CRM. It's just me. It's like, yeah, but it could be so much more. Like, I have an email list of 700 people right now. It's not huge, right? It's not huge, but 700 people. How the hell would I manage that without a CRM?
Mm-hmm. I mean, you wouldn't. Or it's just on an Excel sheet, and you'll be shocked how many people I hear that it's, oh, I have an Excel sheet. It's like, what? Well, what do you do with the Excel sheet? Well, copy and paste it. It's like,
I
oh, God.
excel with it.
So, I mean, to be honest, I guess we all started there, which is fine. But if you're
I
there
did.
and you're in business for 2, 3 years or whatever, it's still, and you're still using an Excel sheet, come on, man. You know, you gotta step it up. You gotta work. Anyways, I talk to people all the time that don't have CRMs, especially in my line of work, and it's flabbergasting to me. And the funny thing is I'm just now thinking of this. We always get, well, what CRM do you recommend? So, there might be something here for you. I might have to tell my sales reps here.
Hey,
Uh,
everybody.
but yeah, CRMs are very, very crucial. very instrumental to growth and organization, which is on the same lines as growth here. We use it for every single thing: training, recruitment, technical issues, HR, accounting, front end, back end, payroll. Payroll, even we use it for payroll to manage all the invoices, to upload their screenshots, to upload their time cards, background checks. I mean, we use it for every single thing. So whether you're a small business that's nurturing leads, which you should be, or trying to grow a community or sell products, or you're a bigger organization, it's so crucial to have something where you can go in and you could see everything in an organized place, and you're like, great, this is doing good, this is doing good, this is doing good. How else are you going to grow? Right? I can't go to an Excel sheet and be like, all right, so what are we going to do with this?
Right. It's in the name though, right? The last part, relationship manager.
Mm-hmm.
It's the most important and most underrated part. People don't buy services or products because of the fact that they need them.
Right.
There's actually nothing in this world that we buy that we need. We buy things because we want them, we see value in it, and there's an emotional pull to
Right.
it. Whether the emotion is like I buy food because I don't want to be hungry, it's
Right.
still an emotion, it's a feeling. Whether it's I don't want to, or like I buy this piece, a fire extinguisher for my house because I don't want my family to burn alive. you're you're buying it out of emotion. You're buying it out of fear. So what's really important is to understand we are always buying things out of an emotional component. There's
Mm-hmm.
nothing we buy just simply we look at it and we're logically like, I need it. It's like I need it because of this. We use
Right.
logic to explain emotion, and that's
100%.
what people miss. So a relationship manager is that component. It's you want to start converting more, you want to do more, you want to pour more value into your community. Start doing that because you will get people emotionally invested. Like in my so we've talked on one of the previous podcasts, we talked about speaking. That's actually when Shane recruited me to help his guy speak. And it's funny because you can actually follow that same format, especially if you're doing newsletters or you're doing outreach to people. Story, teach, and tool. In every newsletter I put out, it actually follows that format. I have a personal story of like what I'm going to talk about, like the newsletter that's going out tomorrow, for instance. So for those of you that might be watching this whenever I release a newsletter on the 1st and the 15th of every month, tomorrow will be the 15th of May. And my newsletter for tomorrow is all about anger and how anger is actually a helpful emotion because there's no such thing as bad emotions. And I'm doing a little mini series in my newsletters about this. And the first thing I'm going to talk about is how angry of a kid I was. I'm going to talk about how I used to punch holes in my wall because I was so powerless and it made me feel strong to punch sheetrock. And like I'll joke about it and I'll talk about some stupid crap. And then I'll go into the teach and then I'll go into the tool and like here's your actionable takeaways, or here's a link you could go and you could click this link and go read more about this topic or whatever. So it really gives you the opportunity to build like, know, and trust factor with people if you do things the right way. And then that will always ultimately increase your sales in your future because people now have some sort of emotional investment in you. Even if you're not a one man show like me, like Shane, even Shane, I think, if he does an external newsletter, he could, just write newsletters on like best practices to get, the most out of your VAs, or like, here's things we do. I know you're not going to do it, Shane. I know you're not going to do it.
We're just for something like that. I believe it for what you're saying because I was completely one sided. When you're nurturing, because yours is called nurturing leads. So when you're nurturing leads, you're building up to something. You're building the know, like, and trust factor, which is good. For mine is a service that I want to strike while the iron's hot. If you're looking to work on your business and not in your business, I want to offer you a solution right now. And I want somebody who is either follow up with me or yes or no. All three of those are great, but I need a response. So, but on the same flip side, as you know, my database is massive. I mean, we're talking hundreds of thousands of, people. So I need to hit them. So I need to fine tune it. But that's how we tell we have a hot database. These are the people you call today. These are the people that you're going to text today. These are the people that we're going to send cold drip campaigns to, and it's like that every single day.
Yeah.
But we get 35 to 40 booked appointments on a daily basis from it.
Well, even
So,
even to the point now, I'm not talking about potentially nurturing people to get them to buy. Like I get, yes, that's what I was talking about in my thing. But if
Right.
I were to look at an external newsletter for your company, it'd be more about client retention, because
Right.
now you're sending the touch points of the people that are all like the people that buy from you, they go into a separate list. Now there is the newsletter that's externally sent to that list of like, hey, this month best practices for your VA, or like here's something new that we're doing, or here's
It's not a
something that
bad
was
idea.
great, you know, and things like that. And then, or you could even talk about like, there was a success story of a client done this with their VA, and like it was great for them. Like maybe you try something like that in your business, whatever. And
Yeah.
it's just a nurturing campaign now that continues to build those relationships, which I think that also enhances retention, because now people feel a level of loyalty because you're always pouring into them.
I think it's good for the people who say no and don't say like, don't take me off your list.
Yeah.
Because how I've always been taught for marketing is, and I don't want to get too off the beaten path here, but is you have one time to hit them.
Yeah.
So the email that you're going to hit them with, it needs to be an offer straight up right then and there. And my offer is really short and sweet. Is this which we've talked about? Is this what you're looking for? Are you still looking for help? Yes or no? And so that's how I've always viewed things is yes or no. No. Okay, great. On to the next one. But I like that because I get tons of them that I'm not interested, but it doesn't say take me off your list. So I like that because we may get an extra couple of them on a monthly
Yeah.
basis, maybe more. Doesn't matter. It's super easy to create something like that too.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna write that down.
It keeps people, and that's the thing too. Like sometimes people even forget that they were at one point interested, and then they get that random email that just sparks their interest again, and they're like, oh, I don't even remember why I didn't sign up with that, or whatever the case is. And you're right, like it could respark an interest of somebody that was previously there. And sometimes people just they come back. I've seen it happen too. Like I've had people enroll and do things like that I've offered for free, and then a few months later I have a sales call booked, and I'm like, who the hell is this? And it's like, oh, I was in that webinar you hosted 5 months ago. I'm like, really? what what made you sign up now? I've been getting your newsletters, and I was like, that was a really cool thing, and I decided to book a call with you. And I'm like,
Hmm.
okay, it's interesting, but that wouldn't have been possible without the CRM, because they were
Right.
stored from the previous database. And then I brought them into the other database, and then I put them into this campaign, and then boom, like
Hmm.
your the coolest thing about CRMs is just the way you can move people up and down, so that you're always creating some sort of relationship. And to your point as to what you said, people don't want to be bothered. They can unsubscribe at any time. Like
Hmm.
I always have people unsubscribe to my email list. It doesn't
Hmm.
matter. But then what's really interesting is there's kind of things that shock me. Like I see who opens my emails, by the way, because that's what the CRM does. And there are some people that literally have stopped coaching with me. We don't talk at all, and they read every single newsletter, every single one. That person still has a relationship with me, even though I haven't talked to them in maybe a year or more. So now if I say, hey, I'm going to release my book, they might buy it. If I say, hey, I'm putting out a course, they might buy it. If I say, hey, I'm doing a new offer, I'm going to create a group program, they might jump in. So
Hmm.
you never know, because you tend to relationships. And as long as you keep relationships alive, even if it's just a touch point of like, hey, I'm still here and here's a piece of value for you through a newsletter or whatever, you could always get people back into your ecosystem.
Hmm. Yeah, I believe you. I mean, and that's the best thing about nurturing relationships too, which I don't do, and I think I need to do a little bit more of, which on a more personal and business standpoint. But it really is important because they may not need you now, but they may need you in 6 months, and whatever that need you may be. I think that's the point of having those types of relationships.
Well, you know what? Actually, here's a really good example. I got connected. One of my clients had referred me somebody. This was, oh man, I don't even remember how long ago it was. Let me check. Let me check this real quick, because I have an email here, or sorry, I have a text message here, and it was back in January. This person referred me, and it was funny because we got off the call, and they seemed like they wanted to sign up, and then they were just like, hey, it's not the right time. I said, okay, no problem. They literally just texted me today and said, hey, I'm ready. Let's go. 2 months later, they're
Yep.
probably on my email list. I've been top of mind clearly. And now they've reached out and reinitiated. because maybe we had a very memorable first phone call.
Mm-hmm.
They probably liked what we were talking about, even though it wasn't the right time.
Mm-hmm.
They've been kept warm in my CRM. And then they reach out a few months later because I'm still the guy that's top of mind if they're going to hire a coach, because that's how we started. That's been nurtured. And that's what it could lead to now when they're ready to make a decision. You have to remember this too, people. If you're out there, one of the best things about nurturing relationships is that goes back to that like, know, and trust factor. You'd be more likely to hire me if I've been sending you emails for 6 months than going out and researching and trying to find a coach that you don't know because you think their results could be great, but you already sort of know me. Even if you don't, you do. And so that's one of the coolest things about being able to nurture relationships, is that you always have an opportunity, even if it wasn't the right time, to pull people back or to even stay top of mind. How about this? The other day, I got a referral from a client that I had 2.5 years ago. And they still tell people how amazing I was as a coach. And so I'm getting referrals from them. And I haven't talked to them in over 2 years.
And that's how it should be.
That's how it should be. But it's also part of, and again, maybe it's because of the great job I did for them, or could be because of the fact that I'm still always top of mind, because of the fact that they are in the CRM and they are getting my emails and they're, there's always these touch points. And it could be both. It could be one or it could be the other. But I would always say that my chances of having situations like that come up are because of the fact that relationships are super nurtured. And I make that a point.
And because it's a CRM.
And because it's a CRM. Relationship manager.
I love it.
Boy. All right, everybody. Now, there's so much more that you could do on CRMs. I put the biggest emphasis on the relationship part, but obviously, as we were talking about, it can help you with your drip campaigns, which automate your processes so you don't have to sit there and actually follow up emailing people. How about you just put them in a process where it will send them 10 emails over the course of 3 weeks and you do nothing. And then it also has these capabilities to help you understand what potential revenue you have coming in through pipelines and all these other great processes and systems that we could get into. And we could spend probably hours talking about this, right? But I don't think we're going to do a podcast for a few hours. Ultimately, our biggest recommendation is look into a CRM, see which one fits you well. If you're curious about this, hey, feel free to reach out to me. If you're listening to this podcast, we don't have this on the website, but if you reach out to me directly, we could do a 14-day free trial on our CRM for you. I'll do a free demo with you so you can see every piece of it. And then we also provide customer support if you need help. So happy to even support you on our CRM if that's something you would like. But ultimately, look into a CRM that'd be good for you, your business, something that's cost effective, something that makes sense.
Yeah, absolutely. Please, if you're using an Excel sheet, go get a CRM. I don't want to talk to you if you're getting if you have an Excel sheet. If you've been in business for more than 6 months, go get a CRM. But that's it for us. We appreciate you guys as always. We look forward to seeing you guys on the next one. I'm Shane, as I'm for the first time ending this, and maybe second.
Yeah, that's Shane. I'm Vin. And we would love it if you would, as always, support us in this process. We love doing the podcast. We love hanging out with you guys. We always hope you get tons of value. Comment, let us know what you like or dislike, how we could be better, how we could stop being bad, whatever the case is. Share. Yes, drop us a review. All these things always help us with the podcast, and we appreciate you guys, and we'll see you next time on the 1%.
Don't forget that caffeine list, guys. Caffeine list down in the comments.
Oh, yeah, right there.
All right. Bye, guys.